Hey everyone, how's it going? So what am I doing now? Well, I came out here to my trailer, and yesterday I finished welding on those D-rings, and I showed you when I did those first two right there. So I did the rest of them. I did two on the other side and then two in the back. I'll show you that later. But I decided when I was out here with the welder, and I've got to say, I'm really enamored with how well this welder works. I really, truly am. I am pleasantly blown away by a $150 welder. I'm floored. I can't say any more good things about it. It's just, it works fantastically. The only thing I wish it would allow for a bigger reel, but it doesn't. It just allows for the small reels. But that's fine. I mean, it's lightweight. What is it? What did I say? Weight 17 pounds, 14 pounds, something like that. It weighs nothing. So what I decided to do on the trailer, since I had the welder out, was fix the fenders. If those of you that have car trailers, you know a lot of times the fenders wind up getting cracks. You know, you bump the fender into something and it flexes, and then just from bouncing up and down the road, they have a tendency to crack, especially when you have a metal fender. Plastic ones, obviously not so much, and obviously I'm not going to use a welder on a plastic fender unless I used a plastic welder. I'm still getting over COVID. See, my eyes are baggy. I'm still coughing, so you may hear that. Anyway, so I already did everything, and then it got dark. Everything up to a point. I have one crack left, and I figured let me just show you what I'm going to do here. I'll show you all the other ones that I fixed, and no, like I've said before, I'm not a welder. I'm also not a body guy, so I'm not concerned about finished product, meaning I don't care if it's like a show quality finish. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for functionality here. So when the fenders crack, it's because they flex and bounce around. So somebody had already repaired this thing in one spot, and it was like a terrible repair. And they basically had ground the metal down and everything else to try to, like, I don't know what they did, but it was like aluminum foil thin. And I really should have cut the section out and added a new piece of sheet metal. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to stitch the metal as best as possible with the welder. And it worked great. It worked actually pretty darn good. So I'm going to see how long it lasts. If it lasts a year, fantastic. Next time it cracks, I'm going to cut the section out. I figured I'm not going to do it this time. So let me just show you. This one's a small crack. But let me just show you. So right here, this crack here. Now, this part is raised up above this part. So it drops down, you know, like a drawbridge open. So I got to get the two pieces to come together. Now, usually on something like this, if the pieces were flat to one another, I would use a flap disc. But if I can't get it to go flat, then I'm going to use the grinding disc to try to get the surface is clean enough to weld. If I can't get them close enough, that's fine. I'm just going to weld it right there. But I figure, let me try to get that straight first and then see what happens. Sometimes you got to do a little prying. Sometimes you got to do a little massaging. But let's see what happens. And I also got to be careful when I'm grinding and stuff like that, because I don't want to hit the camera. Because if I hit the camera with the with sparks in that, it can ruin my camera, and I don't want to do that because it's my phone. So something like this, I want to see, like, it may want to flex slightly. A lot of times what I'll do is I just want to see how it feels. Yeah, it's too much of a step. Let me grab a pair of vice grips. I'm just curious if I can. Oh, okay. I may have gotten it to. No, maybe not. Maybe not. It's close. Not quite right. I'm kind of trying to, like, basically make it fall in line with itself. And I don't care if I roll the fender out slightly. That's absolutely fine for what I want to do. So basically, I'm just trying to pinch the two metals together to see if I can't get them to completely line up. Like I said, this is a functionality or a functional repair. I'm just doing it to get it done. All right. That's getting there. And I'm also tweaking it. I'm twisting it slightly. Like basically I'm putting pressure on it and I'm twisting it over slightly. Oh, I went a little too much that time. All right. It's actually pretty darn good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take, since it's close, I'm going to take the flap disc. If this thing was still stepped really heavy, and I used a flap disc on it, the step on it might cut the flap disc into pieces. That's kind of why I didn't want to do that if I couldn't get it to fall flat. So, but it's pretty darn close. So I'm going to go with that. Always make sure you wear safety goggles or something. You know, I do wear glasses, so I kind of have my own built-in safety goggles. Right now, that's good for what I want to do. Now, what you have to remember, too, is depending on what you're doing. If I was really that concerned where the crack went, what I would do is drill a hole up here. Because what that does is that prevents the crack from continuing. Drill a hole and then weld everything shut. This I'm not all that concerned about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start welding up here, and I'm going to add tacks to this until I get down to this point, and then I'll take the vice grips off. But at least the vice grips are keeping everything together. Let me just grab my little morning protein drink. That's what's helping with my weight loss too. So let me plug the welder in and turn it on. Let me back you up to a better position here. Yeah, let me do this. Let me back you up like this. I think that's going to be a better way of doing it. Let me plug my welder in. Now, if you don't recall, actually, that's the welder. There's my argon. And people were asking me, or talking about the 25% argon and stuff like that. This is 75% argon, 25% carbon dioxide. So that's what I've always used. I know there's some differences. Like I said, I'm not a welder. I just go with what other people tell me, and I've had very good luck with that. So let me just set this back. Actually, let me move you away a little bit more like that. And plug the welder in, turn it on. Also have to make a grounding point for the welder, which I didn't do that yet. I realize I'm talking and I'm far away from the phone, and I sometimes forget that, so I apologize if you didn't hear me. But what I said was I got to grind down a spot to put the grounding clamp. So that should be good. Make sure my helmet is on. Okay, get my welding helmet on. Let's attach said grounding clamp. And let's put a little weld on this. take that off. Because I don't need that anymore. And let me just sand the end down. Actually, here, let me do this real quick. Grab my wire brush. What I'm going to do is wire brush this thing real quick. So now the heat from that also penetrated the end here, so the wire brush took the rest of that paint off. So I'm good with that. So, there we go. So now I'm going to flap disc that down flat. And like I said, I'm not overly concerned with the final finish. It's just going to get some primer paint on it, and I'm going to be fine with that. So let me move you back. Take the helmet off. Done. So now really, I mean, all I'm going to do is just hit it with the wire brush. And yeah, then I'm going to spray paint it. But let me just show you real quick. Oh, see, I caught my finger on the edge of the flap disc. Not a big deal. So I'm going to prime that also. Move everything out of the way. I have this one little cushion here. And as you can see, I used it before. Now, I'm not concerned about the underside of this thing. If this was like my car that I had to do something like this to, then I'd be a little bit concerned about the underside. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Just my car trailer. I may as well show you. But this is a spot, this had some horrible body work to it. There's a lot of Bondo here too, but the crack went up and split this way, split that way. And the metal is so thin, somebody had actually welded a steel plate to the underside of it to try to support it, but it's a terrible job. Same thing here, they did the same thing. There's a steel plate underneath here, and it's just a terrible, terrible job. It's like, I don't know why they did what they did. But there's that D-ring. There's that D-ring. This fender had come apart or separated here and here and here, so I welded that. This fender, when I was going down the road, you could actually see this fender going woo 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 woo, like wobbling up and down because it was so bad. So, but now it's nice and stiff and sturdy because it doesn't have the cracks in there anymore. And then obviously you saw the D-rings up there. Yeah, so let me grab my handy dandy spray paint here. And I just grabbed what I had. So this was some primer that I had for, I don't remember, exhaust manifolds or something that might have been an engine block too, I don't recall. But I had this. So May as well use what you got, right? Like I said, I am not concerned about runs or anything like that. It's not of concern right now. Just covering up the metal. That's it. All right, that's going to pretty much end this. Got to finish drinking this before it gets warm. Because once it gets warm, it's gross. Anyway, that's about it. All right, well, I did make a video on moving the Hornet, and I realized I never ended it, so I'm going to make a separate video. Let me just show you real quick. So there, the Camaro's on that side now. Like my sign. And there's the Hornet on this side, because my next step is I want to pull the rear end out of the Hornet. But I got to make a short clip in regards to, because I used that little air pumper upper thingy that I got, because the tires had 10 psi in them, and I had to get them inflated to push it, because it's just myself and Mrs. Wrenching here, and hard to push stuff with just the two of us. So, all right, well, hopefully you got something out of that video. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. I'm going to put a link for that welder down in the description. Like I said, I am absolutely blown away. I'm so happy I bought that. I bought it on a whim, just kind of like when I bought that plasma cutter on a whim, and in absolute shock at how well it works. Yesterday, when I was welding those, I kept on blowing the breaker. And I'm like, why am I blowing the breaker? Well, duh, I had the air conditioner on. It was on the same circuit. So once I shut the air conditioner off, I had absolutely no problem. So it's a 110 welder. I mean, but it works fantastic. Works fantastic. So, and I've heard other people that have commented that have bought that welder, and they said, just wait till you up it to the 220. You'll be amazed at how well it works. So I'm amazed at 110. So for what I do, I don't really know if I need 220. Well, the more I get into this in the Camaro, I'm going to need 220. But as of right now, it's holding its own. So, and I'm very thrilled. So, all right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.